Sonia. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to be using some Simon Says Stamp products from their recent DieCember release. I'm going to be pairing them together to create some really fun and beautiful shimmer backgrounds on these cards. I'll also be sharing some other tips and tricks for die cutting along the way, so let's get started. I've got here the envelope liner die set. Now this envelope liner die set is technically meant to be used for decorating envelopes, but these elements can be used on cards very easily. I'm going to be using the border dies here, and I've taped them together because I'm going to be using them to create a background. The reason I tape them together is so that way they stay in place the entire time I'm working on building the background, and they won't end up shifting, and they'll be evenly spaced throughout the entire card. So I'm going to bring out my Big Shot machine here, and I'm going to lay my card base onto the cutting plate. This card base is slightly smaller than a regular A2 sized card, and it's cut from some Simon Says Stamp cardstock. I'm lining the border dies up along the side of the die, and I'm going to start work on building a background by lining up the dies across the entire panel, and that's going to end up creating a die cut background into this cardstock. Now this cardstock is 100-pound cardstock, so this is going to hold up really well because it's slightly thicker than a normal 80-pound cardstock. If you have a lighter weight cardstock, you may find that your card's a little bit flimsy after doing all this die cutting and creating this really intricate background. These intricate backgrounds can't hold as much heavy embellishments on top of them as a normal card can, so keep that in mind as you're building your design. I'm going to be using some very lightweight die cuts on top of these card bases, so my card isn't going to end up being too heavy and it will still hold up and stand very nicely. I'll show you that in a minute. So speaking of my embellishments, I'm starting off here by taking the heartfelt die cut. This is from the Simon Says Stamp DieCember release as well. I actually designed these dies that have 3 different heartfelt words made in different styles of font so that they'll match on any of your projects. I've layered a total of 4 of these die cuts together to create a sturdy sentiment. You can see the dimension that you get by layering these die cuts together. I layered a total of 4 of these for each of my sentiments together, and I used Simon Says Stamp's shimmery cardstock to create the beautiful white textured effect. That shimmer cardstock has a really beautiful texture to it, and it really adds a lot of interest to the sentiment, which would normally be plain since it's die cut from white, but because it has the texture, it adds a little bit of interest. Alright, so now that I've got my sentiments ready, I'm going to start creating the shimmery effect on my card panels. So I'm taking my card base and I'm going to lay a piece of cardstock over top of the back side, just so that way I don't get any shimmer on it. And I'm going to take this shimmer spritz from Imagine Crafts, and I'm going to very carefully spray over top of this entire card base to give it a nice coating of shimmer. If you're afraid of getting any of this shimmer anywhere else, you might want to try putting it in a box or taking it outside. But the effect that you get by adding the shimmer onto these cards are so gorgeous. It's hard to see in the video here, but I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute that you can see the shimmer a little bit better. These cards shimmer in real life beautifully, and the shimmer doesn't rub off, which I really love. Here's a close-up look at the shimmer. I think it really dresses up the cards nicely, and it's a perfect way to give your cardstock a shimmery effect. You definitely could use glitter paper, but I like the soft shimmer of adding the shimmer spray over top of my card bases instead. This shimmer spray also comes in a variety of different colors too. This particular color I used was Frost. So now it's time to go ahead and work on building my cards. So I'm going to take some foam tape and I'm going to attach it to the back side of these hearts that I die cut from the same colors of cardstock that I used to create my card bases. I'm going to layer these die cut hearts, which I used a Memory Box Layered Hearts die set, and I'm going to layer it over top of a larger die that I used from the same die set. This time I cut from vellum. And I layered these together to create an embellishment to adhere onto my card. Now that I've adhered the hearts together, I'm going to add another layer of foam tape to the backside of the vellum heart, and that's going to allow me to adhere these onto my card bases. It's going to give these hearts a little bit of dimension off of the card base, which really adds some interest to your card design. I'm going to repeat this for all the cards that I have here. Each card is going to use a different color of cardstock than what the card base is made out of, but all of these cards all use the same colors of cardstock, so they all coordinate, so it makes a really nice set. Here's also a look at how sturdy these cards are using that 100-pound cardstock. You can see they stand up beautifully and they don't end up falling over. So definitely I recommend using the 100-pound cardstock when creating these types of cards. I did try it with some 80-pound cardstock, and while it did hold up, it wasn't quite as sturdy as the 100-pound, so I definitely would recommend choosing that over top of the 80-pound. So now that I have my hearts adhered to the card bases, I'm going to take another heart that I die cut from the same colors of cardstock, and this time I'm choosing a heart that matches the card base color because this is what's going to hide our adhesive from the hearts that we have adhered to the front of the card. So I'm layering that heart right on top there, and you can see we can still have that great die cut background on the card bases that you can see through to the inside, but it hides the adhesive, which I really think just finishes off the card perfectly. So now that I have my cards mostly finished, I'm going to stamp a sentiment and heat emboss it with some silver embossing powder onto a strip of cardstock that again coordinates with the colors that I was using. I'm trimming it down into a banner, and I'm going to end up layering this over top of the word heartfelt, which I adhered down with some liquid glue. The banner I'm popping up with a bit of foam tape just to give it some dimension. And then finally, I added some sparkling clear sequins onto these cards from Pretty Pink Posh. So here's a look at the finished cards and how fun they were, and it's also really easy to put together. So I hope this has given you some inspiration on using the new DieCember release from Simon Says Stamp, as well as showing you how you can use your dies to create some really fun effects on your cards. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and you can head on over to my blog to get more information on these cards, including still pictures and products used. I also have the products linked down in the video description below. If you enjoyed this video, here are a couple more you might find interesting featuring Simon Says Stamp exclusive products. Please give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can connect with me on social media at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, and also my blog. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye!